So the fact that Rafael Stone gets both of them for sub-maximum contracts, I think is really good job by Stone. Jalen Green, contract extension. What are y'all's thoughts?
Well, I got a lot of thoughts. Why now? Starts with why now? And the fact that you decided that you and told everybody who was anywhere near interested in what was going on that there's no need, you weren't in any kind of time crunch, there was anything imminent about signing him or Alpy. Now you've signed him to the 3-year extension. Now on top of that, Alpy's going to be going, where's mine? Now you're kind of force-feeding what we had talked about was the right smart play by the Rockets to say, let it play out. You can always get them for another year if they keep playing and they keep the trajectory going a certain direction. But now you're kind of forcing your own hand. You've given one. Are you going to give the other? We saw this with Jordan and then Kyle Tucker in the fact that you're going to be in a situation now where the other guy's going to want it too, and neither guy has proven or shown to you that they have erased the concerns of a year ago where can they play together? Is Jalen going to be a guy that is finally able to take the step up to be the kind of player you drafted him where you drafted him to be? And now you're in a situation where you kind of forced your own hand, and I don't think that the timing was good, and I don't like it.
I'm on the other side of this as you. I think it makes perfect sense. I think the timing of it is good. The only way that Jalen Green or Alperen Sengun were going to sign extensions this offseason prior to the start of the season was if it was below max, and this is below the max. So I think that the Rockets negotiate with both Jalen Green, with both Alperen Sengun, but there's no way that they were going to sign either guy unless it was below the maximum because there's no risk of then doing it next offseason. You continue to have some salary cap flexibility if you don't give them the max. So the reason that Jalen Green got done today was because it was below the max. 3 years, $106 million. It's about $6 million below the max per year, and it's upwards of like $20 million below the max if he's here for the final 3 years. Plus that third year is a player option, and you still keep the bird rights. I think you got a max player for below the max. I think it's a good signing.
Ooh, I don't think he's a max player. I think
it's not a max contract.
Yeah, which is good because, I mean, that's one thing that I will say that I'll acknowledge is a positive, but I'm not sure that he's even close enough to a max player, even if it's $6 million less than what a max deal is. And I was really looking forward to him having a breakout season to show me he could be that kind of player. And right now we haven't seen it yet, and he's already on the dotted line. What do you think happens with Alpy?
I think that he has a really good year. Then the Rockets sign him to the maximum next offseason.
You don't think it's coming now? You don't think they try and wrap him up too?
Well, they're not. I think they
for the
do.
Same kind of deal.
No, I think they have tried. I don't think there's a reason that he hasn't done it. I think Alpy will not sign for below the max, and the Rockets are not going to sign him this offseason for the max. It makes no sense. If you can get him guaranteed for the max next offseason, why are you going to sign him for the max a year prior and then also giving away your salary cap flexibility? Now, if either player signs for below the max, Jalen Green just did, that's where there is incentive for the team to do so. So that's why it makes sense that Jalen Green signs. That's why it makes sense that Alperen Sengun has not yet. I think they'll both be Rockets for the foreseeable future. Plus, Jalen Green for the 3 years, it also matches up with some of the younger players that you have whenever their contracts are coming up. So I think that Rafael Stone did a really good job here.
Yeah, I actually like this because they don't lose their flexibility to me for the long term. Like you said, when this deal runs out, it kind of times up. And whenever you can get a guy, look, this is kind of an apples and oranges thing, but in some ways you can compare it to Nico. Whenever you could get an ascending star for below the max, or I mean, obviously the NFL doesn't have a max, then go ahead and take it. I mean, that max by the time you get to the end of the 3-year deal is going to be higher than it is now. So I think you save money by acting ahead. Like if you know you're going to resign Jalen Green anyway, and I think the Rockets probably do, then I think it makes sense to get out ahead of it, save yourself some money over the long term.
Yeah, I think you come out ahead financially. Now the risk is what you brought up, is if he just kind of is, this is just kind of who he is, and he's not a $32 million a year player. That's the risk of it, but I also kind of feel that the Rockets knew that they were going to match any contract given to Jalen Green in the offseason anyways next year because he would be a restricted free agent.
Yeah, because you don't want him to walk away for nothing. And so even if you're thinking about trading him, you give yourself the flexibility of that extra year. My biggest concern is right now I haven't seen enough to think that he's close enough to a max player to be talking about that kind of money.
But didn't sign for the max.
Right, but still close enough. Still a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
Both are awesome.
Man. Alperen Sengun of the Rockets have agreed to a 5-year, $185 million extension.
Well, there you go. But, well, I mean, those numbers seem like if I'm Jalen Green, am I not a little upset?
This is almost $40 million less than Alpi Shingun's possible max, says Salman Ali. Rafael Stone is putting on a masterclass right now. He gets Jalen Green for far below the maximum contract when there's a 50-50 shot he would have got the maximum contract if he enters free agency next year. Alpi Shingun gets a 5-year, $185 million deal. It's $40 million less than Shingun's possible max,
Doing work.
which he would have gotten the max if he gets to next offseason. Rafael
that-
Stone this is a masterclass by Rafael Stone.
What's
Dana
that-
Brown distant last in the GM rankings right now.
I would, yeah, probably.
For sure. What's the AAV on that? It's about 33.
You
5
have a
years,
calculator
180?
on that phone? Why are you
No.
putting that on me, man? Because I was
I'm trying to
was
get
a
the
math
numbers.
major.
You were a math major.
I was a
Yeah.
math major.
That's
Let me pull up
36
the
a year, isn't it?
calculator. 185 divided by 5 is
Oh.
$37 million a year.
Okay, I thought it was 180. Okay.
185. Yeah, that's good work by Alpi Shingun or by Rafael Stone.
work by
so Rafael
Rafael.
Stone gets Alpi Shingun for $40 million less than his possible max. He gets Jalen Green for about $20 million less than his possible max. When both guys, Alpi Shingun more than Jalen Green, had a real shot at getting the maximum contract, and he locks up the core 7 for the foreseeable future. I tip my cap to you, Rafael Stone.
Well, see, I mean, if they live up to it from the way they play, then there's no doubt that he deserves that. I just have some serious doubts about Green more so than Alpi, but to see if they actually live up to being worth it. But to their credit, if they didn't make out max deals, then kudos to them.
I also don't think that they're players that are hard to trade should they not be good. Like
Yeah,
you
for
see,
less than max contracts,
Yeah.
for sure.
like you see max players that don't deserve the max anymore that still get traded.
Sure, but I think a lot of times they're like, from the standpoint of, I don't want to pay a 6-man $30-some million a year.
Sure.
So you just got to determine, like I said, they got to keep ascending,
No doubt.
but that plays into it.
Ultimately, how do they win this contract? Both players play good under the contract that they signed. If they both turn into duds, then we're going to look back and say they're bad deals. Lance McCullers and Christian Javier, when they signed their team-friendly extensions, we said, oh, what a deal by the Houston Astros. Both of those players have not given the return on investment even on team-friendly deals. So I agree with you. Like, they have to go out and then prove that they're worth this.
Yep.
But I think if they were free agents this offseason, I think that they both get far more than that. I think they get the max, both of them, if they enter free agency.